Quick like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. You know what's supposed to be the happiest moment in a marriage? When your wife tells you she's pregnant. When she shows you the positive test. When she cries happy tears and talks about your future as parents. That moment when your life changes forever. Unless the baby isn't yours. My wife told me she was pregnant 3 months ago. Showed me the test. Cried in my arms about how happy she was. Started planning the nursery. Told our families we were expecting. Then I requested a paternity test. Just routine, I said. For medical records. For genetic screening. Completely normal. The test came back 2 weeks ago. 0% probability of paternity. Not my baby. Couldn't be my baby. Scientifically, genetically, medically impossible for me to be the father. My wife said we were having a baby. The paternity test said otherwise. And when I confronted her with the results, she didn't deny it. She just asked me to pretend anyway. My name is Ethan. I'm 36 years old, and I work as a research analyst for a biotech company in San Diego, California. I spend my days analyzing clinical trial data, interpreting genetic studies, and understanding biological markers. I know how DNA works. I know how paternity tests work. I know how to read scientific results. So when the results said 0% probability of paternity, I knew exactly what that meant. I met Lisa 9 years ago at a friend's beach party in La Jolla. She was working as a graphic designer for a marketing agency, creative and outgoing in ways that balanced my more analytical nature. I was the research guy, comfortable with data and science. She brought color to my black and white world. We got married 7 years ago. Bought a condo in Pacific Beach with an ocean view and morning sunlight. Lisa continued in graphic design, building a freelance client base. I advanced to senior research analyst. Combined income around $195,000. We were successful, stable, living the California dream. For 6 years, we talked about having kids eventually. Lisa wanted to establish her freelance business first. I wanted to make sure we were financially ready. There was always a reason to wait. Then about 5 months ago, Lisa started acting differently. She'd become more withdrawn, less communicative about her day. When I'd ask about her freelance projects, she'd give vague answers. Just the usual clients. Nothing exciting. Her phone became constantly protected. Face down, password changed, always within reach. The physical intimacy between us had decreased to almost nothing. We'd gone from regular connection to occasional to rare to barely at all. Just stressed about work, she'd explain. Deadline pressure. I noticed she'd started dressing more carefully, even when working from home. Full makeup for video calls. Nice clothes instead of the sweats she used to wear. But I didn't push too hard. Everyone goes through phases. Stress happens. I focused on my work and gave her space. Then, 3 months ago, everything changed. I came home from work on a Thursday evening. Lisa was sitting on our couch, looking nervous and excited at the same time. "I need to tell you something," she said. "What's up?" She pulled out a pregnancy test from behind a pillow, held it up with shaking hands. 2 pink lines, clearly visible. "I'm pregnant." My world stopped. "You're pregnant?" "Yes." Tears were streaming down her face. "I took 3 tests. They're all positive. We're going to have a baby." I pulled her into my arms. She was crying. I was stunned, processing, trying to absorb this information. "How far along do you think you are?" "I don't know. Maybe 6 or 7 weeks. I have an appointment with my OB next week to confirm." We spent that evening talking about the future. Baby names. Nursery plans. How our lives would change. Lisa seemed genuinely happy, genuinely excited. But something was nagging at the back of my mind. A timeline issue. 6 or 7 weeks ago would have been late January or early February. I mentally reviewed our intimate life during that period. We've been intimate exactly twice in the past 3 months. Once on New Year's Eve, definitely more than 7 weeks ago, and once in mid-February, which would only be about 5 weeks ago. The timeline was tight. Possible but tight. Over the following weeks, Lisa had her OB appointments. Came home with ultrasound photos. Started showing at around 10 weeks. Our families were thrilled. Her parents started buying baby clothes. My mom started planning a baby shower. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. At 12 weeks, Lisa had her first trimester screening. Came home with updated information. The doctor confirmed the due date, she said. October 24th. So I got pregnant around late January. Late January. That would have been a New Year's Eve encounter, our only intimacy in that time frame. Possible, but the timing bothered me. I'm a research analyst. I work with probabilities and data, and something about this didn't feel right. 2 weeks later, I made a decision. I've been reading about prenatal genetic testing. I told Lisa one evening. Did you know they could do non-invasive paternity testing now? Just a blood draw from you, saliva from me. No risk to the baby. She looked uncomfortable. Why would we need a paternity test? Not need. I'm just interested from a scientific perspective. They can detect fetal DNA in your blood and compare it to mine. It's fascinating technology. Plus it gives us genetic information about the baby, health markers, potential issues. I don't think we need that. It's completely safe. And it would be good to have a genetic baseline for medical records. Ethan, I don't want to do unnecessary testing. It's not unnecessary. It's preventative health screening. I can order the kit online. We'd get results in about 2 weeks. She was getting agitated. I said I don't want to do it. Why not? If everything's normal, the test will just confirm that. What's the harm? It feels like you don't trust me. This isn't about trust. This is about comprehensive medical information for our baby. She dropped it, but I could tell she was upset. I ordered the paternity test kit anyway. It arrived 3 days later. The genetic testing kit came. I told Lisa that evening. We should do the samples this weekend. I told you I don't want to do that test. Lisa, why are you so resistant to this? It's a simple blood draw and saliva swab. Takes 5 minutes. Because it feels like you're questioning whether the baby is yours. I'm not questioning anything. I'm gathering medical data. That's what I do professionally. I analyze data. This is just prenatal genetic screening. If you trusted me, you wouldn't need a test. If you had nothing to hide, you'd take the test. The words hung between us. She stared at me. What are you saying? I'm saying I work with genetic data every day. I understand conception windows and probability. I understand timelines. And something about this timeline doesn't sit right with me. You think I cheated? I think we should take the test and eliminate any questions. She was crying now. How can you accuse me of this? I'm carrying our baby, and you're treating me like I did something wrong. Then prove me wrong. Take the test. No, I won't do it. You either trust me or you don't. Fine. Then I'll request a court-ordered paternity test after the baby is born. Her face went white. You'd really do that? If you won't voluntarily provide information to eliminate reasonable doubt, yes. I'll wait until the baby is born and get a legal order for testing. She locked herself in our bedroom. Didn't speak to me for 2 days. On the 3rd day, she came to me holding the test kit. Fine, I'll do your test. But when it comes back confirming you're the father, you're going to apologize for putting me through this. If the results confirm I'm the father, I'll apologize and never question it again. We did the samples that evening. Blood draw from Lisa. She could do it herself. She'd taken nursing classes years ago. Saliva swab from me. Packaged, everything according to instructions. Shipped it to the lab. Results would take 10 to 14 days. Those 2 weeks were tense. Lisa barely spoke to me. Stayed in the guest room. Her family called asking if everything was okay. She'd apparently told them we were going through something. I didn't tell anyone about the test. Just waited. 12 days later, the results came via secure email. I opened the attachment in my office at work. Read through the technical details. I understand genetic markers and analysis methodology. Then I saw the conclusion. Probability of paternity, 0%. Conclusion. The tested man is excluded as the biological father of the fetus. This result is definitive. I read it 3 times. Checked the sample IDs to make sure there hadn't been a mix-up. Reviewed the genetic markers that showed clear exclusion. No mistake. No error. The baby Lisa was carrying was not mine. Scientifically, genetically, medically, I was not the father. I sat in my office for an hour, staring at the results, processing what this meant. Lisa had gotten pregnant by someone else. Had told me it was my baby. Had let me tell my family, make plans, prepare for fatherhood. Had let me believe for 3 months that I was going to be a dad. All while knowing the baby wasn't mine. I drove home at 3 p.m. Lisa was working in her home office, video call with a client. I waited until she finished, then knocked on her door. We need to talk. I'm working. The paternity test results came back. Her face drained of color. And I pulled up the results on my phone. Showed her the conclusion. 0% probability of paternity. I'm not the father. She stared at the screen. Didn't say anything. Who's the father, Lisa? Ethan. Who is he? She started crying. His name is Derek. He's a client. We worked together on a branding project. And you slept with him. It was one time. One mistake. I didn't think. When? Late January. During the time frame. So, when you told me you were pregnant with my baby, you already knew there was a chance it wasn't mine. I thought it could still be yours. We'd been together on New Year's. But you knew there was another possibility. You knew you'd slept with Derek. I didn't know for sure. But you suspected. And you let me believe it was definitely mine. Let me tell my family. Let me plan for a baby that isn't mine. I was scared. So you lied. For 3 months. You've been lying to me for 3 months. She was sobbing. What are you going to do? I pulled out divorce papers I prepared that afternoon. I'd call my attorney immediately after getting the results. I'm filing for divorce. You're carrying another man's child while married to me. These papers outline that I have no parental rights or responsibilities since I'm not the biological father. You can't just leave me pregnant. You got pregnant by someone else. That's not my responsibility. Derek is the father. He can step up. Derek's married. He doesn't want anything to do with this. Then you'll figure it out. But you won't figure it out with me pretending to be the father. Please, Ethan. We can work through this. Work through what? You cheated. Got pregnant. Lied about paternity. There's nothing to work through. What about the baby? That's Derek's baby. Derek's responsibility. Not mine. But everyone thinks it's yours. Your family, my family, our friends. Then I'll tell them the truth. Show them the paternity test. Explain that you got pregnant by someone else. You'd humiliate me like that. You humiliated yourself. I'm just not covering for you. She begged me to reconsider. To keep the secret. To raise the baby as mine, even though it wasn't. You want me to raise another man's child? Pretend to be a father to Derek's baby while he's off with his wife. I'll end things with Derek completely. Things are already ended. He's married and doesn't want the baby. But that doesn't make it my responsibility. So you're just going to abandon me? I'm divorcing my wife who cheated on me and got pregnant by another man. That's not abandonment. That's self-preservation. I packed a bag. Told Lisa I'd be staying at a hotel. She could have the condo temporarily while we sorted out the divorce. What am I supposed to tell people? She asked as I left. Tell them the truth. That you cheated, got pregnant, and the paternity test proved the baby isn't your husband's. That's what happened. The next day, I called both sets of parents. Lisa's parents first. I need to tell you something about Lisa's pregnancy. Is the baby okay? Her mother asked, alarmed. The baby is fine, but I'm not the father. Silence on the line. I requested a paternity test. The results came back yesterday. 0% probability of paternity. Lisa admitted she had an affair. The baby is her affair partner's child, not mine. Oh my God. Does Lisa know you have these results? Yes. I confronted her yesterday. She admitted to the affair. I'm filing for divorce. Ethan, please. She made a mistake. She made a choice. Multiple choices over 3 months. Every day, she let me believe I was going to be a father to a baby that isn't mine. That's not a mistake. That's systematic deception. I called my own parents next. Explained the situation. Showed them the test results. I'm sorry you're going through this, my dad said. But you're doing the right thing. You can't raise another man's child under false pretenses. The divorce moved forward. Lisa tried to argue I should still provide support since we were married when she got pregnant. My attorney shut that down with the paternity test. My client is not the biological father. He has no legal obligation to this child. The biological father is Derek Morrison, who should be pursued for child support. Lisa's attorney tried to claim I'd accepted paternity by acting as the father during pregnancy. My attorney presented the timeline. My client questioned paternity immediately upon learning of the pregnancy. He requested testing at 14 weeks. When results excluded him as the father, he filed for divorce within 24 hours. There was no acceptance of paternity. There was immediate action upon receiving scientific proof. We settled after 8 weeks. The condo was sold. Proceeds split based on down payment contributions. Lisa got 25% of joint accounts. No spousal support after the first year. Most importantly, no parental rights or responsibilities for me. The divorce decree explicitly stated I was not the father and had no obligations to the child. 7 years of marriage ended because she said we were having a baby and the paternity test said otherwise. I heard what happened after. Derek refused to acknowledge the baby or provide support. His wife found out about the affair and filed for divorce. Derek ended up paying child support to both Lisa and his ex-wife. Lisa had the baby, a boy, in October. Her parents helped her, but she struggled as a single mother with a baby fathered by someone who wanted nothing to do with either of them. She tried to reach out to me about a year later. Long email about mistakes and forgiveness, and how I could still be part of the baby's life. I replied with one line. The paternity test was definitive. Not my child, not my responsibility. About 18 months after the divorce, I met someone at a work conference. Her name was Rachel, medical researcher, understood genetics and scientific data. On our third date, she asked about my divorce. My ex-wife told me she was pregnant. I requested a paternity test at 14 weeks. Results came back excluding me as the father. She had an affair and gotten pregnant by someone else. Rachel's eyes widened. She tried to pass off another man's baby as yours. For 3 months. Let me tell my family, make plans, prepare for fatherhood. Then the genetic test proved it wasn't mine. What did you do? Filed for divorce within 24 hours of getting the results. The science was definitive, 0% probability of paternity. There was no ambiguity. Did she admit to the affair? Eventually. Said it was one mistake with a client. But it wasn't one mistake. It was 3 months of lying about whose baby she was carrying. That's calculated deception. Exactly. She knew there was a possibility it wasn't mine. But she let me believe it definitely was. That's not an accident. We've been together 14 months. No surprises. No deception. Just honest communication. She said we were having a baby. The paternity test said otherwise. 0% probability of paternity. Scientifically impossible for me to be the father. Genetically excluded. Definitively not mine. 3 months of believing I was going to be a dad. 3 months of planning and excitement. 3 months of lies. Ended by one genetic test that showed the truth she'd been hiding. The baby wasn't mine. Would never be mine. Was never supposed to be mine. Just another man's child. Then my wife tried to make my responsibility. Until science said otherwise.